Hello and welcome to our podcast, Magic of Both. I'm Ronnie Mazumdar. I have Shudip Teroy with me. Where to start? Probably, probably with the big boys or big favorites of the tournaments. Any, we've probably talked a little bit about any tournament or any competition held in Brazil. Brazil, without even that, is a top favorite. But any competition held on Brazil normally ended up being Brazil being champion. Um, have you seen Brazil that dominant, or you do feel there is a little bit of uh, lack of quality in this TTS side, if there is any?
Actually, um, actually, I was surprised to see when they were playing with two defensive midfielder, and it's kind
Almost
of like
all
also,
games.
yeah, yeah, except for the first one probably, um, and it's mo like almost like 4-4-2 or 4-2-2-2 or something like this, um, and um, well. The thing is that like now, right now, there is no one in South America to challenge Brazil, like in toe to toe, and another problem is like other teams are having a lot of problem, even including Brazil's. There are some problems going on like internally, but still they have the players, they have a good coach, and their technique. His technique is like I would say like yeah, they could actually even compete in the European level, like in Euro or something like this, or even reach if they could play Euro or they could actually reach in the semi-final or something like this. But the thing is that like it's weird to see Brazil with two defensive midfielder and
I know. I was thinking the same way. Actually, I'm going to go with Brazil's results. I mean, they first played the Venezuela's weekend team. They went with 4-3-3, I believe, if
yeah,
I'm not wrong. But Casemiro was a holding midfielder, and you have Fred, who technically is he's the second combative midfielder. It's and Lucas Paqueta at the start, but anyway, Lucas Paqueta with I'll come back to Lucas Paqueta. He's supposed to be the most creative midfielder on that
mm,
Brazilian side, but
yeah,
he's not what so far we've seen. He's versatile for sure, but uh, he's not consistent for 90 minutes. He's most of the times there's like flashes here, flashes there. Uh, but yeah, he's not someone that can consistently put some balls, such as the last player probably Brazil had is Kaká
mm,
as an attacking or creative midfielder. Um, I know it's been long that we kind of always think Brazil always plays beautiful kind of football and attacking sort of football, especially their midfielders. Given the quality of midfielders they have, it's been rather fairly ordinary from Gilberto Silva, Dunga, if you remember, and it's always been the wingers coming with some sort of creativity, and in the middle you have Kaka, very modern in the modern time. Otherwise, it's been either strikers themselves or wingbacks or the wingers. There've been the such as Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, um, yeah, players like that. Actually, were the um, wing. Uh, the creativity always coming from flanks, as well as the wing backs has been exceptional for years. Roberto Carlos, Cafu, Maicon, um, Marcelo, then Dani Alves. Now they're very kind of handicapped with Danilo, who's not at that level
Yeah,
of Dani Alves. And on the left hand side, they've tried Sandro. Alexandro
yeah,
is more often attacking minded left wing back, but he sometimes can have very off games. So Renan Lodi, who's a very capable left wing back as well for Atletico Madrid, he has been very good on that position. But mostly either Fabinho or Casemiro, or even Casemiro, Fabinho, or Casemiro, sorry, Fabinho or Fred, Casemiro, Fred. That sort of pairs are playing in that uh, Brazilian midfield. So Brazil did win 3-0 against Venezuela, 4-0 against Peru, 2-1 against Colombia. It was very tight game. Colombia almost
they
frustrated
scored first.
frustrated Brazil, and drew against Ecuador. Um, so you talked about two defensive midfielders, and is Brazil too dependent on Neymar in terms of
Obviously.
attack?
The thing is that like we talked about this thing after the first match. Like they
Yes.
needed someone like if we were thinking at the time like with 4-3-3 formation.
Yeah.
So like they needed someone to carry the ball to Neymar or like supply like make the connection between the defense
Or
and the
make the build up. Yeah,
yeah,
build
make the
up play.
build up, something like this. And the solution was like this formation 4-4-2. Um, but it is so weird to see this formation. Like it's not like when we think about like 90s and like early 2000s, Brazil actually played in this formation,
Yeah,
and it was a
94.
very,
That brings into mind Romario Bebeto up front, and then you have
mm,
Dunga, Gilberto Silva,
yeah,
sometime Leonardo, Juninho, sort of
yeah,
Maginho. So yeah, that reminds me of that.
yeah. Like they 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 played, and I don't know, like but it's not the same Brazil like the 90s or
No.
something. There were Richarlison trying to dribble past like probably everyone, but he
Well,
couldn't actually.
Richarlison has a very good pace about him, and sometimes he can score some very good goals too. Uh, but I have to ask you something here. So, except Neymar, Brazil tried in striking position. Sometime with 4-4-2, Brazil had Neymar up front with Gabriel Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel
Mm,
Barbosa,
also, yeah,
Gabigol. Then I thought Firmino
Firmino.
as was probably the best uh, in that Colombia match because he has been very intelligent about his touches, his positioning, and his
Also, like when he was dropping, like
he can
he
link up.
like does, yeah, he
So
does it with the
Neymar
yeah.
needs that link up because you
Mm.
cannot expect, although he's a very talented dribbler, but you cannot expect Neymar to dribble past 2 3 rows of defenders and players, and it becomes predictable after a certain point of time. And
What was your question? And
oh, my question was, so I've seen Gabriel Jesus as a number 9, especially in Manchester City. I've seen Bobby Firmino as a number 9, but a different kind of number 9 who plays to middle. But with Tite, this Brazil, I've seen them being placed at flanks, and Richarlison, who plays at flanks, being the middleman. in the attack. So I got very confused with that kind of system, and I don't know if that's a better use for Gabriel Jesus. I mean, Jesus can play definitely as a. Sometime he played in that, with Aguero in Manchester City. He has uh, he has the pace, he has the quality to play there. I'm not saying that he cannot, but is that the best use for so many good number nines in Brazil?
Well, sounds like I don't know, like um, w- it's hard to actually. It depends on like coach's mind, like what he wants from the team. Like if you want to kill the game, you want want you need some sort of like certain sort of player. Like it and Brazil like always go for will always go for the kill. And now
Or at
it
least,
depends on like
yeah,
yeah, and now it depends on like how you want to kill it.
yes,
Gabriel Jesus has a tendency to move it to the wings, like to like walk between the center backs and like
yeah,
with the wing backs and stuff, like the gap between those defenders, and he tests the defenders like really well. So like if you want to start with him, well you will need Neymar, probably. I would say it would be best to go with like 4-3-3,
hmm,
so that like Neymar could have some I don't know, some guy like they were actually like I think they are missing Coutinho at like a lot, like
yeah. But what
but
struck
if we
very, sorry, go ahead.
like yeah, Gabriel Jesus can also like play as a second striker, so. And the thing is that the quality of Jesus and also the quality of Firmino, if you combine with these two, like Firmino has a tendency to drop by and like to collect the ball and like make some runs around the uh, um, probably in the middle of the line, defense line, and
Right,
stuff like this.
but
And then the last
Firmino,
moment,
to me at least, he's not going to be your solo number nine who is going to stretch everything, because
exactly.
he's someone who depends on others' movement, and he's very
Yes,
intelligent to link up, and he can create or facilitate the space for others. Um, but with Neymar dropping that much back and collecting ball and coming back, or the other options are actually cross from wingbacks, or very seldom maybe Paqueta provides the passes. I don't really see much. It's almost like a lot of workers and cloggers in Brazilian midfield rather than creative mind. Like Dani Alves, he was a wing back, but he could create something out
he
of
was an
nothing.
extra midfielder, like
Exactly,
back in your head, he was doing something,
exactly.
and
And
probably
there's
supposed to become a
almost,
wing back or something.
without set pieces, there's almost zero threat from that midfield, and there's almost um, yeah, almost zero threat. Almost nobody wants to go to the opposition goal and want to score. Especially, I remind Colombia game. The Colombia, when Colombia took that lead, everybody knew, especially Alexandro, who is a teammate of Cuadrado, knows Colombia's only creative player is probably Cuadrado. So
Yes,
whenever you have to go and basically don't give him time to put a cross, and he put the cross, and there was a brilliant goal from Diaz with a bicycle kick. But after that, they had to come back in the game, Brazil, and Colombia frustrated them. Especially Barrios in the middle against Neymar was solid, uh, and Neymar was frustrated. And that's the other part of Neymar, right? If you're depending on Neymar, Neymar can have someday an issue. He can have issues with certain players, and he can do some stupid stuff. He can be enraged, and he's a magician, not a doubt about it. But someday his temperament can be a problem. So if you're solely depending on Neymar, and Neymar having an off day or having those tussle with someone in the others, in an opposition team, then you're struggling of creating anything. And that's my biggest concern with Brazil. Yeah, it looks South American context, they look, probably the best team right now, given the results. Although they haven't probably have ever tried on third gear, probably in the second gear they've always make it. Um, but with that Colombia game, there is obviously the controversy of referee not blowing the whistle, and they got the goal while Colombia started to stop playing, uh, and that uh, complaint led them 10 minutes of added time. So in 101 minute, Neymar's corner had Casemiro basically scored from corner,
Yeah,
and that's how they won it. And I've also seen Brazil against Ecuador. Yes, probably not the best Brazilian team without Neymar,
yeah.
but still they have struggled so much when you kind of thought that they have it on their, they have 1-0 lead and they should win it against Ecuador, who has not troubled the other teams much. But Ecuador came back in the game, and they needed the draw, and they scored the goal. And yeah, so I still have, what I'm trying to say. I still have my doubt on Brazil because it's kind of very predictable, either Neymar or nobody. Or I thought it was very very different when they have winger like Vinicius Junior, who was only played against Ecuador for he came off the bench. He didn't play for long, but they're using uh, Jesus or Firmino as in the flank, or coming in deep and out of position. But Vinicius Junior, and I kind of I thought David Neres, who's coming back from injury, could be an asset for Brazilian attack as well. But um, I was kind of disappointed with the midfield of Brazil, as well as the attack seems to be very very predictable and one dimensional. It's either Neymar or nobody.
I think I have like two solutions for that. Like I have been thinking about it. There were like I said, how it's all about how they want to kill. The thing is that if you play with Bobby Firmino, then he has a tendency to drop by. So that means like that he is inviting the defense a little bit closer to the midfield, like defensive midfielders. So like there weren't much spaces. So in that case, Neymar would have like less spaces. You know, if the South American uh, team, they have a tendency to play with like back four. they they wouldn't actually break it. I don't know for some reason, but if they play with like three in the back and like two wing backs, and then that would be actually like a
Better
damage
idea.
against, like, yeah, because then they have to move into the middle and there is nobody, and that's the problem. And from Brazil's point of view, there are like two options. One, their current selection, but instead Neymar in that as a striker, like uh, Firmino could start with Gabriel Jesus, like with in 4-4-2, Neymar in the wings, so that like one guy would like stress the defense, like Jesus, he will stress the defense, and Firmino would like drop by to create something. so that like they then they can actually have like these two players like in the left creating a triangle, so like there will be more passing option, and Alexandro overlapping. It would be a pretty good system to attack. And there is another, like if you play with like Firmino, then it shouldn't be with like 4-4-2. It
It's
would be
almost you
a
need
good.
two wingers for him to run.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And most likely it would look like I don't know, like he has this sense to drop in to collect the ball. So it would be more like 4 as a false line situation. So, but the thing is that like you would
It
need
would be more
someone
like
like
4-3-1-2 rather than 4-3-3.
yeah, exactly. So like you would need someone creative in the box to like make those like small.
And that might open the door for Neymar to dribble, pass, or link in, because Neymar definitely can link up, and Firmino can link up, and that might.
Also, like they need another guy who can actually like
Well, it seems to
take.
Richarlison is a favorite for some reason. I don't know. Probably he's scoring
But
for.
Richarlison is not like a number eight. They need a number eight at that position now. Like
I don't think there is there is a number eight. Although
that's the
the
problem actually. Like
although Lucas Paqueta looked a little bit, because I remember against Peru, Lucas Paqueta were tried in the top three.
and and you were talking about Paqueta. Problem with Paqueta, like Leo is a completely different team. They expect actually different sort of like a movement from him also. Like in Brazilian team, I think he's juggling with these two things. He's a new player. It is hard to like accommodate in a player in a team full of like stars
But
and stuff like this.
here is my question: what if, as you said before as well, Brazil wants to go for win always.
Yeah.
They have managed to score, no problem about it, but it seems like they always struggle against a team who wants to park the bus, such as Colombia. Colombia didn't want to play much, except few, counterattacks, but they had the solid 4-4 wall for Brazilian team, and Brazil struggled. Same goes for Ecuador. What Brazil actually drew, yeah, without Neymar, but still they drew. Uh, and that I thought I see the same pattern. Now Chile is the opponent for the Brazil in the quarterfinals. Chile is not the same Chile that with beautiful Alexis Sanchez and Prime Vidal and all Aranguiz, and yeah, they're still there. Sanchez is not fit yet. Vidal Aranguiz probably is going to start with. So Chile might take some notes from there, and if they can be compact, and the format of Copa America right now is if there is a draw in 90 minutes, it goes straight to penalties, not to the extra time. Uh, so anyone can park the bus and hope that they don't score, or they frustrate a team like Brazil, who themselves starts with two defensive midfielders, which kind of baffles me. But anyway, and yeah, it could be interesting. But I do feel that there is a kind of team that can frustrate Brazil, that has a quick counter-attacking capacity, such as Colombia or Ecuador, and they've shown that, because Peru is not as defensively organized as those two, or say for example Venezuela tried. I know the score says 3-0, but up to 71 or 72nd minute it was 0-0. So Brazil was struggling, and there was penalty. So Venezuela did that up to 70 minutes. Now, the question is if anyone can really go there and be that team that frustrates Neymar, and in order by frustrating Neymar, you are basically going to frustrate Brazil as well.
Actually, they tried to close the gaps between Brazil. Actually, I was talking about Brazil. Like they tried to close the gaps. We actually talked about after the first match. Like there were some gaps with Casemiro with the other midfielders. So they tried to close the gaps with like playing a flat 4-4-2. But also like they were thinking about, I guess, not conceding a goal against someone. So, but the thing is that the Brazil is like this Brazil team is like really good in air, but still they struggle against those balls.
Against set piece, yeah, they are
Yeah,
still a vulnerability.
yeah. So I don't understand this thing actually.
Yeah,
Like we
same.
had
Like
headers like Marquinhos and
Militao is a good header as well,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Casemiro, and I
Casemiro,
I
yeah.
don't get it as well.
Me neither actually. Like it is surprising to see them struggling in the air. Uh, Also, like Ecuador has had a tendency to like they are basically a physical team, and
Physical team, and also there's the depends on wingers running in
yeah,
quickly and crosses. So um, yeah, Brazil didn't concede from crosses, but Brazil did concede from corner. They couldn't clear it, and then it came back, and then obviously, so Ecuador had that goal that basically took them to the quarters. Um, so I personally feel this Brazil team, yes, they're probably the best, but on certain days they're beatable. This is not We're not seeing attackers such as the phenomenal Ronaldo or even Adriano. Adriano was beast. Ronaldinho, there was at some point. I mean, you saw that Brazilian team on paper, and you almost surrender. Okay, we could not even compete, and it's not the case. I don't feel that anymore, but. Yeah,